And we are, whoops, wrong show. This is Geeking Out with, but we are live. Yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. If this is your first time here, this is Geeking Out with. This is where we showcase anything, everything, and everything in between, what someone wants to geek out about. It's just a different format of a show. If it's comics, books, music, movies, anything that you want to geek out about. So, with that, my next guest is somebody that I've been watching for a long time. He was one of the first people that I reached out to as far as when I decided to do a YouTube show or do YouTube shows, or not shows, but episodes, or whatever you want to call them. and yeah, and he was very generous with his time and gave me some really good advice. And with that, let's bring out my guest and see what he wants to geek out about. And it's Nate. Hey, Star Trek. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Star Trek, baby.
Right
Hey,
on,
Rich.
man. Right on.
Thanks
you
for
doing,
having
buddy?
me on. Thanks
Yep.
for having me on. I'm really excited
Thanks
to
for
do
doing this.
this. So, Star Trek, true story. My channel, my comic book channel, was supposed to be a Star Trek channel. Like, that was my intention with YouTube. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted to do, was talk about Star Trek.
Yeah.
But it was just hard to do the way I was doing it, and like getting clips and things, and editing. I wasn't there yet, so I felt like I could do comic books a little simpler and do some learning on the fly. And I just kept going. So I'm so excited to talk about Star Trek, because no one wants to talk about Star Trek with me.
But before we do that, Nate, let's say real quick to hi to the chat.
Heck yeah.
Just a few people here. Yeah, of course, our good friend Kate Munin.
Andreas, good to see you, buddy.
I
Package
think
going
you know
out
this
Friday.
guy.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, Frank.
There's Frank, my brother-in-law.
And then we have Matt.
Matt.
Glad you're here, buddy. And the great and powerful Robbie Josephs.
Oh, Bobby.
Bobby.
I got something for him today.
Oh, wow.
I did, which is hard to do.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be. He's one of those guys that's like, man, what would you get him? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got our buddy Eric.
Yeah.
And then Big Matt. And then Christopher.
Chris. What's up, buddy?
So glad he's here. So glad everybody's here. And of course, I can't have my show without the coach. Gotta have my coach. And let's see, a few more people will be trickling in as we go. But yeah, Star Trek, man.
Yeah.
Been looking forward to this, man. What do you got?
Okay. Well, I brought a lot of stuff, because the thing is, like, Star Trek as a hobby, obviously, is watching the show and the characters and the episodes. And that's where I'll start, is that I don't actually own a lot of the show, because I've always subscribed to streaming services that have it. And when I had some on DVD, like, they just didn't survive. But I have a lot of the movies, or I think I have all the movies in my, like, physical media collection. But I will start with they're known for, there's a lot of Star Trek books out there. And this one was written by Peter David. This one's called Q-in-Law, and it features two of my favorite characters, which is Loxana Troy and Q. And in this one, they get married. And this is that's one of that's kind of the half the plot, I guess. There's two storylines. It's almost like reading an episode. Peter David, very good comic book writer. This was excellent. if you like Star Trek The Next Generation, this was like reading a lost episode. So there's a lot of like, Star Trek novels out there, and I'm not the biggest reader of like, I don't like things in universe like that. Like, I don't read Star Trek novels.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just something different about Trek because it is science fiction, right? And it's telling it's telling some kind of morality story, and if it's done well, because that's what good science fiction does. So I'm just more likely, if I'm going to read, like even with comic books, there's Batman novels and Spider-Man novels. I'm not going to read those. Even when people are like, oh, it's so good, I'm like, I'm not going to read that. Because I mean, for me, like, it's the marriage of art and the text. But for Star Trek, it really is, for me, more the ideas. And because I like the ideas so much, I picked up so much stuff, like so much stuff. So, I mean, like I said, there's some books, and I have more books than I've read. There he is. What's up, Chonko? Toys. I have a ton of Star Trek toys, both new and old. So I just brought a couple to show off. So this is from the original line in the 1990s, and this is the Riker. Now, I always find Riker where his shirt is torn up. So this one I was really excited to find because it's just regular. Like, I want to have all of these that are the bridge crews from each from each show. And so I wanted to have him, and I didn't want him in a shirt that was all torn up, even though I have that figure and I like it. And I am an out of the box collector, but some of them are just in the box, and like, I don't have a reason to take them out right now. So I use it as part of the display. So this will be like in the background while the figures that are loose are in front of it on risers or whatever. Yeah. So that's the other thing, man. This is tip of the iceberg. Okay. I have so much stuff downstairs. This is a Voyager figure from one of my absolute favorite episodes, where Tom Paris mutates because he goes faster than warp 10, which is like faster than the speed of light, which isn't possible. And they do it the one time, and then he turns into a lizard, and he turns Captain Janeway into a lizard, and they go to a planet, and then they make lizard babies. That's canon. It happened. And the lizard babies are included as accessories on the dang toy. So the fact that they did cuts, deep cuts like that, okay.
See, I would never know when to and when not to bust those things out of the packaging, man. Because
I mean, I'm going to. I really am going to. It's just I don't have anywhere. Like, my toy space, is so limited. Well, it's not. It's just full. I have filled it. So, until I get like a bigger shelf or another shelf, when I have more room or when I move things around. But I even have toys that are in tubs in the basement. And I want to answer K Munan's question that the Star Trek figures on the card. I mean, that's the other reason I don't open these. They're $5. Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, this was $5. There's a toy store north in Indiana where I find these, and they have a ton, and nobody opened them because they made so many. But one of the funniest things about these Playmates figures is the bottom of the character's feet, or somewhere, almost every one is a numbered collectible. So like, cool. It'll be like 50,000. Like, they made 50,000 of this toy, and there's not 50,000 people that wanted that toy. So you can get multiple copies pretty easy. I'm going to show you two. I got some more toys, and I'm just going to jump in and show you some of the cool.
Go for it, buddy. Go for it, man.
So this one, I was hoping he'd be here tonight. I haven't seen him yet. My friend Eric Hembo got me this for Christmas. So this, turn the light on and make sure I got it right. Yeah. Okay. So this.
Oh man, look at that.
Yeah. This is the transporter toy. It's the next generation transporter toy, and it works. So watch Spock, everybody.
Oh, cool.
The sound didn't go off, so I think the batteries might be going.
Oh, that's
there it was. Cool. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it again. So I love this thing.
Yeah, that is so cool, man. No, transporter room, Christopher.
They made this whole line of these miniature things. Some of them were like, they'd have like a communicator and it flipped open and it's a play set. And so like Micro Machines or Polly Pocket or what was the boys version of that? Max something. So this one is a Borg face. When you open it up, it's this like, almost Star Wars looking chamber, but it's like a ship that's being taken over by the Borg. It comes with these, probably not going to show up very well, but these very tiny little Borg guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so tiny. But this set's really cool. It also has this wheel because Data's brother, Lore, always he did team up with the Borg, and so they have a thing where like you can flip them back and forth and lock them in this wheel. Like even though it's so small, there's these little like action features that go with the go with the show. So that's like
cool.
That was like stuff from the Playmates line that came out in the 90s. There was some revamp stuff, which I have some of that too. I think that like my favorite, I like it all. I'm not going to say my favorite, but these are wicked slick. So buckle up. There was nothing that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would not collab with back in the day. And so they did Star Trek Turtle toys. These I have not pulled out because they are pricey. These are expensive. And I've picked them up. The ones that I've picked up, I've only got 2 of the 4. I've picked them up cheap. But I mean, look at that.
Chief Medical Ralphie. I love that.
I just love that scene. The fact that they come with, all of these accessories that are half Trek and half Turtles. So yeah, I got Raph.
Yeah, that is so cool, man. I didn't know they made those.
I got Engineer Michelangelo. So these 2 I was able to pick up for like, I want to say around $40-ish each, which was a fair price. A lot of times I see it more expensive. So being still on the card, I was like, more likely to pick that up. The Star Trek cat shirt that I'm wearing here, they also did this calendar. And so we always keep a real physical calendar on our fridge. And we picked this out one year and it was just a hoot. And I kept it because it's awesome. I mean, you got Uhura and that's not Kirk. That's Sulu. That's Sulu.
Yeah.
And then Guinan and Ro Laren from Next Generation. There's the original crew. The cat they use for Spock like really kind of looks alien and Spocky to me.
You got the Spock ears going, yeah.
I mean, I love cats and I love Star Trek. It's like a Reese cup. Let's see. Okay. Do you want to see something really funny? I've got a lot of ornaments too. I just brought one. So this one is Captain Pike in the chair. If I can get it to focus, find me a backing board. So, Captain Pike was the first captain of the Enterprise or whatever. And they brought him back from that pilot episode. There. So that's him in the chair, and it makes noise too. It talks, but it's not great. It's just lines from the show, and then this really loud beeping from the chair that he has. If it's gonna, you can't hear it. All right. I won't. I thought maybe my mic would pick it up. It's like a direct line from, like it's directly recorded from the show. You can hear the TV noise in the background. And then this is nuts. So sadly, I don't have the VHS, but you can find it. You can find it on YouTube, so you could still play this. And I intend to one day, but I found this in my dad's kind of he's a flipper, and he buys things at garage sales. He has a lot of property that is full of things. And I was walking through one of those once, and this caught my eye. I was like, I can't believe you have this. It's the Star Trek: The Next Generation interactive VCR board game.
Oh man. We must play this.
I know, right? So, I mean, these VCR board games were like a thing for a while.
Yeah.
And this one here, look, that one there's its collector's number. Its number is 146,703. I mean, can you imagine that there's that many of these out there? That's crazy. So no wonder I found one in a barn in the middle of nowhere, Indiana.
I was gonna say your dad's probably got about 2 dozen of them.
I'm surprised we're not tripping over them right now. So yeah, I do need to. I mean, I don't know. I need to play it. I have a ton. I mean, actually, I didn't even bring this. This was just upstairs. Another friend of mine, Chris from Condition Not Considered, he started watching Star Trek and he bought a bunch of cards. I don't know from where. And him and his son, they just started cracking these packs of Star Trek trading cards. There are so many Star Trek trading card sets out there. So this one is just, I think these all encompass just season 2. So and he got a complete set and then an almost complete set that he gave me and my son, which is, and it's 7 seasons. So I'm like, all right, I only need, like 8,000 more cards and I'll have the whole thing. Hey, Christina. So I have binders. I don't have binders, but I have boxes of cards downstairs. And I have more Star Trek games too.
Wow.
I also brought, am I down to, okay, I showed the ornament.
Do you have board games?
I have, well, a lot of them are more card games, it seems like. But there are board games too, and then there's like little ship games. So then this from Star Trek Generations, it's going to be hard to see. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It's numbered 2,623 of 4,500. This is James Kirk's death at the end of Star Trek Generation, where he gets crushed by a bridge.
Yes.
So this commemorates the terrible ending to that terrible movie. And then, Picard is on the...
Yeah, he's hanging on.
It's so bad. And why would they make... This is like just a paperweight. This serves no purpose. And Eric and I saw this when we were at Comic-Con and we giggled about it. And he got me this too, because it was, obviously so stupid that we had to... we had to physically be able to see it.
That's awesome, though, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. I would want to know anybody who's watching. And before I only brought 3 more things. Other than this, I just want to talk about Star Trek.
Okay.
So I want to start that with anybody who has like a favorite episode or something that they want to like, bring up or chat about, or any aspect, or if you got a Star Trek question. Go ahead and throw it in the chat. And Rich, I want you thinking too, because I know you've seen some, and so I want to know like what's an episode you really like.
Okay.
All right. The 3 best things, but I have a few more in my collection, and I will end up with too many more. And I got a funny story about it too. They're all the same thing. They are the Star Trek collector plates.
Yes.
This is the other thing, right? So Star Trek has all these books. People have the costumes and do the cosplay, but then there's this. Like, why? Why are collector plates such a Star Trek thing? There's so many of them. And
why is any collector plate a thing, man? It's awesome.
I don't know, but there is something to me about because there is a skill here. The art is actually wonderful, and some of them, not all, but some of them have really good composition as well. So it's an impressive little piece of art. Why put it on a plate with a cheesy gold foil like rim? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I never collected these. I always giggled at them and thought that they were silly, right? Even though I got a whole like shelf full of Star Trek toys. So this was a set that my wife found on Facebook Marketplace, and she goes, "Look at what I found on Facebook Marketplace." I think it was all the movies, so the first 6 movies plates, and they wanted. It was so stupid cheap. It was like $20 or something, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm getting that." And she was like, she said, like, the second it left my mouth, I knew I shouldn't have even, like, why did I say anything? And so, I made contact with this woman who was selling them, and me and my son, we went and picked them up, and I'm like, you got any other Star Trek plates? And she didn't. But this was the movie series. So I didn't bring them all, but I mean, I brought Khan because Khan, like, this is definitely my favorite of the original cast films, even though I like them all. And I love some of the ones that other people just can't stand. So
I have a corner hutch too that you can have to display those plates in if you want.
Right.
It was my grandma's.
That's what this woman had at her house. She had a couple of those, and she had all these different plates. I mean, they weren't Star Trek; they were just other collector's plates. She's like, "Yeah, I picked these up, and I didn't want them." I'm like, "Dang it! You call me if you get any more you don't want." This is one that a lot of people don't like this one as much. It's not one of the more popular movies, but I really like it because I feel like it is really a Star Trek story. Oh, we'll talk about Peak Deanna Troi. So it's Star Trek 6, which is The Final Frontier, and it's Spock's half-brother Sybok. It's the one with "What does God need with a starship?" which is a quote that goes around my house all the time. And so it was one of the lowest, it was probably the lowest budget of the original cast films. And it shows, but I don't know. I mean, the original show was so low budget. I think that's part of the charm for me. So
I
love this one. And I love to just say, "Behold my Sybok," because how many people have a Sybok plate?
A Sybok.
The best one, though, the best plate I own is not a movie plate. It's not a TNG plate. It is a Voyager plate, and this one is from my friend Eric. And I want to see. I'm not good with, like, I don't remember the episode names and things like that. I'm always like, the one where this happens, because I'm not good at lore. It doesn't say which episode this was in, but this is from Voyager. And this is when the holographic doctor met this woman who was dying of this degenerative disease, and they would go on dates in the holodeck. And one of them was like at the Grand Canyon in this 57 Chevy. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Robert Picardo, and this woman, like, staring off. What is this pose? It's like Sears portrait 1982 style of, like, posing. And then all of these weird aspects, her half dissolved body as it's degenerating. I think she had the phage, which was their, like, one of the diseases they dealt with early on. He's a hologram and he's in love with this woman. And but this was actually it's a weird episode, but it's a really good episode. It's a great, like, this woman, he tries to give her, because he's a hologram. He's like, here in the holodeck, you can be normal and you can have a life that's fulfilling, but because she's physical and not holographic, like, she can't deal with what she really is versus what she wants to be. And David, Garage Geek, is so right. This plate is deranged. It is. I mean, like, I love to find a weird comic, and now I feel like I need to find more weird Star Trek plates, because I feel like this is kind of like,
Voyager is probably the only thing that I didn't really get into. I tried to watch it a few times, and I just never could get into Voyager. But I like Deep Space Nine and stuff like that. But Voyager, I just could not. I don't know. It was something. I don't know what it was about it. I just couldn't get into it.
I think it's fair. Like, I think it's fair to not be able to get into any particular series, because they all kind of have their own vibe. But also, notoriously, Star Trek has horrible first seasons. Whatever the first season is usually god awful. Voyager is it's definitely my second favorite. The cast, I feel like, gelled kind of like the Next Generation cast did by the end. I really liked that one. Enterprise is the one that didn't really work for me, but I know people who
I like that one. I like that because I like Scott Bakula. I always liked him.
I love Scott Bakula, And there were just things about that show that I didn't like, but there were really good episodes too.
Mm-hmm.
Put us back in a 2-shot because I ain't got nothing else to show. We're just gonna chat. But I want to know from Matt from Impressed, like, so Deanna Troi is a character I always kind of felt bad about. Like, one of the things I really like about Star Trek is that it was a show that tried to be progressive for whatever time it was in, no matter what. Tried to promote minorities and women as having we'll get to 7 of 9, I promise. She's one of my favorites too. And so, like, in doing that, like in the original series, Sulu and Uhura promoting minorities, which I did bring. Again, my friend Eric, I mean, he and I trade a lot of Star Trek stuff back and forth. We talk Star Trek.
Yes, David. Taboo was sexy. Oof.
This is George Takei's latest graphic novel called It Rhymes with Takei, which is about his.
Oh my!
It's about his journey, to being out as a gay person, and because it was not easy for him as an actor during the time that he was, and it's been really good, and he touches on a lot of those things. So then in Next Generation, they continued with putting women on the bridge and making them important characters, but like, again, notoriously, they didn't have a lot to do sometimes, and when they did have something to do, I felt like Deanna, she got put into a lot of situations where she was always a victim. Especially early on, man. There was one where, like, I can't remember if it's season 1 or season 2, but she gets pregnant. Like, she gets pregnant by some, like, it's like space magic, and she gets pregnant and has this like magic space baby that's born in like a day and then grows up in a day and then disappears, and they never talk about it again.
Yeah.
It's never, I mean, they never return to that. It's the craziest thing. But as an actress, I think, that's another thing that I really liked about Star Trek is how so many of the actors were classically trained. They were theater actors, which just kind of worked for the kind of stories, like the productions they were doing, because it's really silly to be on a paper mache set, but stage actors are actually kind of used to that, so they didn't have to work as hard to sell it when it was cheap. I love that George Takei, which made me think I met him, and I should have grabbed that. I don't know where it is because I don't have it in a frame yet. It's in my stack of stuff to frame, but we met George Takei at Comic-Con last year. I think it was last year, and he gave us the Vulcan salute and told us to live long and prosper, and I'll never forget it as long as I live, man. I'll never forget it. It was awesome.
Oh, man. Yeah, that had been awesome, dude.
When I was a kid, I met Scotty. I met Scotty at a CarQuest World of Wheels. Like, they had a panel of celebrities, and it was the most random. It was the guy it was the blonde Duke boy, John Schneider, Elvira, and Scotty, and they were like at an Indianapolis CarQuest. I'm pretty sure it was a CarQuest. But it was something that
sounds about right. That sounds about right. I remember those CarQuests.
Yeah. It's when I was a kid. It was just the weirdest mix of people. And I got to meet Scotty, and he was like the nicest guy. He took minutes with everybody, and I was a kid. I was like maybe 10 years old, 11, something like that. But he took time with people, and I thought it was really cool.
And that'd been right around the time of the 80s movies too.
During that time, James Doohan did need $80, or he did need $20, because I'm $20 is $20, man. If it gets me a few more miles down the road.
20, man.
But yeah, I'm trying to think like what the most recent movie would have been at the time that I saw him, and I'm thinking it would have been before the Whales movie, which was like the popular one. That's the one that kind of hit that pop culture that avenue for everybody in the 80s, because everybody went to see that one. Everybody went to the theater to see that movie, whether or not they were a Trekkie or not.
So that's the one Shatner directed, wasn't it? Did he direct that one, the Whales one?
It's either him or Nimoy, because they went back and forth. Like, that's how they kept getting him back, was by promising that they could direct.
Maybe it was
one or the other.
I was thinking maybe it was Nimoy. I can't remember. Yeah, like you said, they went back and forth.
I think Nimoy directed 3 Men and a Baby. Like, at some point in the Star Trek continuum, he was busy directing. Well, he was directing like that's why he couldn't be as involved or something. Like, someone else got to direct at one point because Leonard Nimoy is like, well, I've got this new movie, 3 Men and a Baby, and I'm so I'll jump from Deanna Troi to 7 of 9, played by Jerry Ryan, who I think she had in Voyager, she had some of the absolute best stories that they wrote for her. And they did that because she was beautiful, and they poured, I don't know what they did to get her into that cat suit they had her in.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was not comfortable. I know that I had heard or read, like, because of how long it took for her to get in and out, like, she would forego going to the restroom because she didn't want to be the reason to hold everything up.
Wow.
Which, yeah, I mean, so, like, that's another aspect where, like, even though the show is trying to promote women, they're still missing the mark sometimes, you know. And then, modern Trek can sometimes take that same idea and go too far the other way, where they're putting too much of the justice spin on things, where I think good sci-fi puts those things in undertones, and so everything's a moving target. But what I appreciate about, like, the institution of Star Trek is they never stop trying to, like, hit where they're trying to hit, whether they miss or whether they overshoot. I still feel like it's like, at some point somebody's being authentic with it. There's still somebody else who is those executives who said, put her in the cat suit because people will watch. Like, they're right. Obviously that was part of it, but it wasn't what everybody was doing. And so the character that she played was a Borg who, and if you don't know, people who are watching, the Borg is like this, like insects, basically, in their mentality. They are mechanical. They have one consciousness, and they work for the Borg. Their individuality does not matter, does not exist. They hear everybody, and they know everything that everyone who is a Borg or has become a Borg has ever known. And so she is taken from that, what they call the collective.
Great characters, man.
And yeah, and so she is like, she is traumatized. She has a lot of, like, she is not used to being an individual. And so they do a lot with her character, what it's like to be a human, what it's like to be a person. It's a perfect vehicle to hang those kind of stories on. And as an actress,
off of Spock, yeah.
Yes. But I'm going to argue better. Like, Spock is, not better as a character, but like original series Spock, they didn't really, dive deep in those things. And in Voyager, there's one particular episode where everybody has to basically go into, like, a cryo sleep because they're going through this dangerous radiation. And for whatever reason, it doesn't affect her. So she's like, I'm used to being alone. I'm used to, I'll be fine without you. I don't need you guys. And so she's going to stay awake and make sure things are running. And she has, like, some psychosis things go on because she doesn't know what it's like to be alone. She's not strong enough to be all alone. And that was like one of my favorite episodes of the series. Huh. So yeah, I mean, as a character, I do think she's more like Data. And Data is another, like, absolute favorite character because we're exploring what it is to be a human.
Data.
And Data, Data is there's so many funny moments with him. And again, you take the actor, you take the character, you put those two things together, and when it works, it works. And Brent Spiner really works as somebody who isn't something and really wants to be it. One of my favorites with him is when he's trying to do comedy, and who do they get to be the comedian to come on and teach him is Joe frickin' Piscopo.
Yeah.
it's like Who's the comedian we know whose phone ain't ringing off the hook? Yeah. Weird. I just thought that was so random that it was Piscopo, and Piscopo's not bad in the episode. He's really not. Yeah. But that was a really good episode where humor is such a human thing, and it's very hard to understand, and it's very hard to explain. And they do a good job of explaining it and explaining why it's hard to explain. And they illustrate it with this moment where Data makes an unintentional joke and Guinan laughs at it. And she says, "That's funny." He's like, "It is? Why?" She says, "I don't know. It just is." Moments like that are what keep me going, and back to the trough, because I mean, I've been watching Star Trek since I was a kid. I mean, a little kid. It would be something that was on in my house. My dad would tell a story about, because they used to own a record store, and he and my mom, and they would close their store early on the night that Star Trek was on because they wanted to get home. And it wasn't like first run or anything. It was just on a certain station, like on, in the 70s. And, there's no TV, there's no VCR. If you want to watch it, you got to catch it when it's on. So they would close their store early on the one night that it was going to be on so they could get home and watch the original series when it was in syndication. And so whenever it was on, it would be on at my house and we'd watch it. And I just got to, because they cycle through, there's only 3 seasons of the original. Yeah. And so you just you started getting real familiar with it and the phrases, and then you start watching the movies. And I don't remember how old I was, but there was a kid I rode the bus with, and he was so freaking excited about Star Trek: The Next Generation coming out. And I'm just like, whoa, new Star Trek? Like, no way. And I remember all the hubbub. Hey, Rob. Hey, Lewis. There was all the hubbub and hate for like Picard, because when the pictures were released to him, like, who is this old bald man? A captain is supposed to be handsome and rugged. And
I was the same way, man.
Right. And I mean, and they did the same thing they did the same thing with Avery Brooks in Deep Space Nine. A black captain, and then Voyager, a woman captain. Like, there's always been some controversy, and no matter what the controversy is, I feel like the show always leans into it and comes out so much stronger on the other end because of it. Captain Janeway is one of my favorite captains. When she has great moments, I feel like Voyager can be very inconsistently written, and she can be inconsistently written, but when they write her as a strong captain, she's freaking great. So I remember when Next Gen started. I remember when, and that same kid that I rode the bus with, a few years later, when TNG was on its way out, and now they announced this new show. It's going to be Deep Space Nine, and they got a character who morphs just like the Terminator 2 technology, like all that. So those sci-fi elements were always there, and for a long time, if you were a Star Trek fan, from the time that Next Generation started until Enterprise ended, I mean, you were eating good. There was a lot of Trek in those years, man. There was a lot of Trek in those years.
A lot.
And now there's Discovery, I am not a fan of at all. I really liked the first season. Second season was kind of okay. Strange New Worlds I like a lot. I still haven't
watched that yet.
So the first 2 seasons are, absolutely excellent. The third season has been so hard for me to get through that I have not liked it. My favorite new Trek, though, is, there it is. My favorite new Trek is the cartoon, Lower Decks. I should take this out of the bag. But it's, I
started watching that, but I never did keep up with it.
You have to. So all Star Trek sucks in the first season. Like, that's a general rule. This doesn't suck in the first season. It's definitely weaker, but I would say the first 3 or 4 episodes are not. I don't rewatch them. They're not good. They hadn't figured out who the characters are. If you are a Star Trek fan, and you started watching this and didn't like it, because that's what happened to me, I just cannot recommend this enough. This was one of this, if you're a Star Trek fan, this is a Star Trek fan Star Trek. Like it's a comedy. It's a comedy and a cartoon, but like they do so many deep cut jokes, and when they do it, you start laughing. You're like, oh, I know that character. I remember that planet. So
I love the premise of it. I love the premise of the show. That's why I was trying to watch it. I just fell off of it for some reason.
I really recommend it. Hey, pop Lyle up there. Hey, buddy. Take care of yourself, man. We're all thinking of you.
Yeah, prayers, brother.
And if you need anything, man, just call or send a message. We're all here. We're all around, bro. Dang it. Okay. I'm really mad at Lewis right now. A good Janeway moment. I missed that episode. Okay. Oh, all right. I got it. Here's the good Janeway, or a good Janeway moment, because there's more than one. The Tuvix episode. So
Janeway moment.
the Tuvix episode is Tuvok and Neelix, two different characters, get blended together in transport, and they're a new person. They have kind of aspects of both, but they're their own dude, and they can't figure out how to separate them. So he just hangs around and he kind of like finds his place, and he starts, like, his old friendships and relationships are kind of like strained, but as he moves through, he begins to form new friendships and find his place, and then they figure out how to split.
Did they hire a different actor to play those?
They hired a different actor. So then they figure out how to split them, and it becomes this moral problem of, do they let this new person continue to exist, or do they split them back to the two individuals that were important parts of the crew, and again, individuals? It's a really sticky moral question, and I'm not agreeing with the ending at all, but Janeway, as the captain, has to make a decision as to what to do, and the character, the blended character of Tuvix, is literally begging for his life at the end, and it's hard to watch. It really is. And she splits them up, and the end with her walking down the hallway, because she is the captain and she has she makes her decision and she's strong, but when she's walking down, you see, and she's by herself, you see her humanity when she's really struggling. She doesn't know if she made the right decision or not. She had to make a decision, so she did. And because that's such a gray thing, that you can't say whether she made the right decision or not. There's, nobody can. You can argue it whichever way you want, but you're not right or wrong. It's just what you think. And that's what that episode is, man. And that's what good Star Trek is to me. Good Star Trek is taking real morality, or taking our society or our humanity, and looking at it through a lens that makes it not as uncomfortable and judgmental to do. Because that's because that's the way that you can explore those things. In the 1960s, you could have the first interracial kiss between a white man and a black woman because they were mind controlled by a magical imp. You could have this discussion about race relations between black and white people because you had Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler, in a half black, half white face paint, and the other guy was in a half white, half black face paint, and everybody said, well, that's so stupid, you look exactly the same, right? And you couldn't say that in a real context, even though we should have been able to. So I don't know, man. I mean, that's why I like it, and that's why I keep going back. And when my son was born, because I'm a school teacher, I'm home not a lot, but I have breaks, and I have summer, and we're lucky enough that one, that I can stay home with him, but two, the daycare that we had, she would not charge us if we didn't go to a break, which is, if you're a parent of young kids, you'll know that's rare, because she was married to a teacher. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep him home. I don't want to pay all that money. I mean,
Right.
it's expensive. But what are you going to do with a baby that poops every 20 minutes? Every time you leave the house, you're on a timer. So, and I don't like to leave the house anyway. I'm an extroverted introvert or introverted extrovert. I don't know which, but I just want to stay home and watch Star Trek. And the kid offered me an opportunity to do that. So every summer, I mean, I would turn on, and I'm always watching. There's almost always some Trek that I'm watching my way back through. I actually have not started a rewatch of. I finished Deep Space Nine last, and I just couldn't bring myself to do Enterprise again, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do Voyager or what. So I've just started watching random episodes of original series and TNG because those are my favorites in my heart of hearts.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna be like, all right, it's time to start with Voyager episode 1. It's gonna suck, but here we go. You get through those early terrible episodes to get to the ones I like.
You're FOMO me on the Voyager. I'm gonna have to go back and just push through and watch it and give it a try because that's the only one I didn't get into.
I mean, I think the thing is, especially the next what I would consider the Next Generation era, all those shows, they had 22 to 24 episode seasons. They put out a lot more episodes than the new shows do.
Heck yeah.
And that let them just take a lot more risks. They could feature a character in one episode who is a background guy or do something really weird. There is an episode of Next Generation called Lower Decks, which is what the Lower Decks cartoon is named after, and that's the one where it's like these ensigns, and they're all lower level officers and ensigns, and they're looking at the bridge, so they see Riker, they talk to him, but that episode you're following these different people around the ship instead of the main guy. The main guy's there. And you get the POV of what's it like to be one of the people who's not one of the bridge, not on the bridge. And I love that one. So I that's one of my favorite episodes too. But in today's world where streaming shows get 6 or 8 episodes, maybe 10 or 12 if you're absolutely lucky, they don't have the room to tell those kind of stories or to take those risks. We talked about her. Jerry Ryan's great.
See, me, I'd rather talk about. You didn't really. You said Enterprise wasn't on your top list or whatever. But me, man, that Tubai or Tupu or whatever her name was,
T'Pol. She's so and she's not even an actress anymore.
My God, man, I watched the repeats of that. I'm just like, they let that on TV. Holy crap.
Number one, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
She is one of the most beautiful human women I think I've ever seen. But number two, again, 7 of 9, she's the Vulcan. Her whole storyline is she's one of the first Vulcans to have to interact with humans and the conflict that comes from that, and how she deals with, because Vulcans are all about repressing their emotions. They have them. And the whole line is that they feel them more than humans do. And I call BS on that. I think they just don't want to, deal with what we have to deal with as feeling creatures. And I think she kind of sold that in a lot of her episodes. And the episodes a lot of the episodes featured her, obviously, Scott Bakula, and then I don't remember his name, but the guy that played Trip. And that trio was a good trio. That was a good
steam room scenes, man.
I know.
It always cracked me up. It's like, why would they have these steam hot
again? Sauna? Rich, up on the 64th floor is a guy with a cigar. All right, if we want people to watch Star Trek, they're gonna need to rub each other with gel.
Yeah,
gel. And if I remember right, the show In World Logic was that it was their way to make sure they weren't contaminated. And that was cool. I did like that aspect of Enterprise a lot, that it was low tech, right?
Low tech.
It was basically it was somewhere between NASA and original series. And it was real clunky. And that was cool that, you know, they didn't have those things. It's DVD.
My
Talk to him
favorite,
today.
my favorite Next Generation one was episodes were always the holodeck. Any of the holodeck malfunction ones where they would get like stuck in there or something, or the one guy, the one technician guy that Murdoch that played
he is one of the best. Barkley is one of my and that's what I'm saying is like he's such a minor character, right?
Yeah.
They let him be the lead they let him be the lead in like 4 or 5
fantasies on the holodeck were awesome, dude.
Oh my God. and you know, I mean, that was again like going back to that, like the sexualization of Troy and Gates McFadden, I'm sorry, what's her name? Crusher. Because they didn't know what else to do with them. There's that famous, you've seen the gif of them working out in the hallway. They spoofed that. They spoofed that on Lower Decks, there are great episodes of Star Trek. There are horrible episodes of Star Trek, and those horrible episodes are so fun to watch, like a bad movie. So, I mean, I love them. I love them.
I do too, man.
But yeah, Barkley, where he was like, I do know a background story about him is that Star Trek was this show that very unique. I don't think they do this at all anymore. But you, like anybody, me, you, anybody, we could have written a Star Trek script and sent it to them, and they would read it, and they might buy our script, and if they, or our story, whatever they were, they had an open idea policy.
Treatment,
yeah. But I don't think they do that anymore. And so one of the writers from TNG talked about how they would constantly, like every week, if not multiple times a week, they would get these scripts from this guy, and every episode that this guy wrote and sent to them as something that he wanted them to make or he wanted them to pick had this character that had his name who got to take over the Enterprise. And like, no matter what happened, like the bridge, no matter what the idea was, the bridge crew was always incapacitated, and this minor character from the background who was named the same as the guy that wrote it would take over the Enterprise. And that's where they got the idea for Barkley and his holodeck psychosis, or obsession or addiction or whatever it was that he was almost like a fan, right? Mm-hmm. And so he wanted to beat up Riker, and he wanted to get away with the ladies. And I'll tell you something else. Here's another reason for you to watch Voyager is he shows up in Voyager.
Oh, he does.
He does. And he's an important character. And and I loved that. I loved him because he was a character who had so much self-doubt and so much anxiety, but he was brilliant and capable. He was lazy not because he couldn't do the work, but because he was afraid of the failure. And I just feel like I feel like so many fans of the place where we find ourselves, right? Like, I mean, that's a lot of us nerds, right? We read power fantasies. we watch these kind of shows because all of us, to one degree or another, no matter how extreme, we have that inside of us. And when something tells stories that touch on those things, you identify with it. And man, Star Trek was just that for me. And there's so much of it. That's 7 seasons of like 4 different shows. It's hundreds of hours. And so as long as that's not all you're doing with your life, but like putting on an episode every day, it would take you a very long time before you looped back around and got to the beginning, even if you were watching chronologically.
See, I did that with Next Generation years ago when I had one of my back surgeries and stuff, man, and I was in recovery here at the house, and I was just like, okay, time to watch,
Yeah.
And I just binge watched the shit out of it, It was
man. And there are, like I said, I still like the bad ones. There are very few that I'll skip, although there are many times, and because I have looped through TNG seriously double digits. Like I've watched that one the most. I used to watch it on VHS, like I would tape episodes and then, DVD. But TNG, sometimes I will skip season 1. Like I'm just like,
Really?
there's nothing. Yeah. I'm like, sometimes I'm just like, there's nothing in there I really need to see again. And then other times I'm like, I do want to watch some of those. They're very like season 1 is so much like the original series. Star Trek is kind of known for like having an A story, a main story, and then a B story running underneath, sometimes even a little bit of a C story. And you go back and forth and it keeps the action going and keeps your attention. When you watch the original series, there's one story and it takes a long time to get through. And sometimes it's boring. And that's how the first season of TNG is to me. So I got to be in the right mindset. Like, I know attention spans are short. And I know I have focus issues, but sometimes I do just, sometimes I'm not in the mood to be bored. I can admit that it's not the best thing. Some of those early episodes are just they're not good. And they're not bad enough to be so bad it's good episodes to watch either.
See, that Picard, you were talking about, Picard being the new captain or whatever, and it's like, that was one of my pet peeves for the longest time. I was like, they're in the future. They would be able to cure baldness by then. They would have a cure for baldness. But he had that little scene where he says, he wanted to be let nature take its course, basically, is what his thought process was.
Patrick Stewart said, like, he says that at cons all the time. He's like, I asked Gene Roddenberry, like, why would you want, like, they even did a test with him with hair. You can find a picture of it.
Yeah, the wig. Yeah,
it's not great. But he asked Gene, he said, why would you want me? Because, I'm bald, and wouldn't they have a cure for baldness? And Gene said, in the future, they wouldn't care about baldness. And I think that's smarter. I think that's smarter. Like, I like that.
Because Patrick Stewart, man, he was bald back in Excalibur. When he started Excalibur in the early 80s, early 80s, he was bald.
Yeah, as a theater actor, I remember seeing some things that I read about him where he started balding so early, but he wore, because he was especially Shakespearean actor, there was a lot of wigs, and hats and things. Right. So Louis mentioned one of my, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not good with episode names, so second floor there. Lewis, I call him both because I don't know which one it is, and I kind of like being.
I didn't know his real name. No, I know.
That's one of my favorite episodes too. That one feels very old school sci-fi, where Captain Picard gets zapped by this beam on this thing and he becomes unconscious. And when he wakes up, he's on this other planet. Everybody thinks he's this other person. He's continually trying to find a way to contact his ship. A long enough timeline passes, like he's got a wife and kids and all this stuff, but like eventually he kind of gives up on that. I'm gonna find my ship, and just becomes who this person is and lives this life and lives with all these people through their trials and tribulations, through births and deaths, and through literally the death of their planet. And in the end, you find out that what zapped him was a beacon that was all that was left of this civilization. And this was the way that they were being remembered. And to Captain Picard, it happens in Picard, it's a literal lifetime. He lives a literal lifetime. But to everybody else in the crew, he was unconscious for a few minutes. And I mean, how much that would F you up. Like,
oh my God, dude.
I mean, my God, right? I really think of, if anybody, like, I haven't watched a lot of the later seasons, but early Rick and Morty had this virtual video game called Roy, where you went into like a holodeck and you became this guy named Roy that worked at a carpet store. And like Morty goes into it when he takes the helmet off, he's like, "Where's my wife?" And that's Picard in that episode. Like, he wakes up and it's, no, you're the captain. You've been asleep for a few minutes, but to him it was a whole life. And they he learned how to play this flute. And the flute, there was an actual physical flute inside the buoy that had zapped him, and that became part of his character throughout the rest of the show. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool, especially at a time when shows didn't have that kind of continuity, right? They didn't like to have order. they liked to be able to play any episode at any time, and you can catch it and you'll figure out everything, right? That's how TV shows worked back in the day. And now we're more conditioned for those longer story arcs. And now we're bringing up okay, so Louis, the when he plays the flute at the end, it is heartbreaking. And you don't need to cry, but if it doesn't hit you in the feels, I don't want to know you either. I really don't. It's you're not paying attention to the right things. Seriously. Like, I mean, I don't need you to cry, but I need you to feel it. I need you to feel that we're fragile and we're only here for so long. And if you don't appreciate the things that you should, you messed up. Like, that's that episode to me. And then now they're bringing up the Borg episode where he becomes Locutus. And that one to me, I think is really cool because it shows the connection that the characters have, because they want to get him back. They want to get Jean-Luc Picard back. And as a group of people, they decide to defy convention, defy the law, defy the Federation in order to bring him back and do something that there had never been a Borg deborged before, except Hugh Borg. But he didn't get deborged. He went back, and that was do you remember when Geordi found a Borg and it was his best friend? He's like, I want to stay with Geordi.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites too. Another I think I keep saying my favorites. I feel like the ones I really like are the ones that just think about who we are as individuals and who we are as individuals together, like how we connect. Those are the things that just really make me think, and the things that, that I guess that connect with me the most.
Right.
That's why I geek out about Star Trek, Rich.
That's awesome, buddy. This has been a blast, man. I swear this has been really fun.
I told you, man. I wanted a Star Trek channel when I first started. I was like, I just want to talk about. So I'll leave you with one of my favorite jokes. So my friend Eric, not SideQuest Eric, but Himbo Eric. So I met him. We live in the same town. I walk in where he was working, and I see him reading this Star Trek novel. Or he's got it off the side. I'm like, oh, Star Trek. And he's like, oh, you like Star Trek? You like Star Trek? And he's kind of excited. I'm like, I like Star Trek. Now I'm starting to move a little closer too. Like, so do you want to talk about Star Trek? And he's like, I want to talk about Star Trek. Do you want to talk about Star Trek? And up until then, I felt like my superpower had basically been, I will talk about Star Trek until you leave. That's something that I can do. I can't leap tall buildings or stick to walls, but I can talk about Star Trek until you make me stop. And Eric never made me stop. So that was like the basis of our friendship. Was he would come over to my house and we could just turn on Star Trek and it would be on, but then we would also be talking about the show or talking about whatever else. And then so many of our other, our other interests overlapped. And a lot of my real life friends are also, Trekkies to some degree, though I think I am definitely probably the most extreme. But dude, it's
and you like it, David. You do.
You do. And it's so bad over here, man. It's so bad at my house. Like, I've got a room full of comics. I have a room full of action figures. And in those action figures, there is an entire 3 to 4 shelves that's just Trek. And then in my board game collection, Trek board games, and all my trading cards, Trek cards.
You and Himbo should still do a channel, man, because I would be there. I would watch it. So
I know, and I still believe in doing it, but I also feel like I don't want to do a second channel. And I say this in front of David the Garage Geek, who is also David the Jigsaw Geek.
Yeah.
I kind of just I don't care. Like, I don't care about the compartmentalization. I think Eric and I will for sure do something because we both love it so much, and because I do feel like I'm in more of a space where I could do it. But I'd still just do it on my channel. You know, I'd still just invite everybody and say, hey, if you don't like Star Trek, this one ain't for you. We're not talking about comics today.
That's what I was getting ready to say was I'll have to have both you guys back, and we'll geek out about it some more, man. And get Eric
we
on
could
here.
do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd be down. That'd be a blast. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could end up
Be my
being
first three-way.
Oh. And that could, Rich, that could end up being the nexus of what we're talking about, you know.
Yeah,
And I end up figuring out a way to once a month hook up and pick an episode or do something
like that. Yeah, it'd be friggin' fun, man. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
But well, man, all right. I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat, man. Everybody was blasting around, throwing things out there. I love it. I love this intermingling and connection you make by doing these shows. And Nate, I cannot thank you, buddy, enough for coming on here. And we're definitely going to have you back. Do you got anything you want to put out there or plug or anything before we go?
So keep an ear to the ground because next week it's probably going to be on my channel. Eric and I, SideQuest Eric, we have the Avengers. And so that'll be Wednesday next week. We got our next episode of us playing the role-playing game.
That's awesome.
This Friday, I'm definitely going to be on Alan the Comic Collector Geek stream at 7, unless like something.
That means I won't be.
Up. Yeah, I don't know. I
was your
are you my alternate?
Yeah.
which I have, number one, which I appreciate, not in terms of like thank you, but like I love that Alan continues to do what he does. Like you know,
it's awesome, man. Yeah.
A lot of I will 100% give a lot of credit to any success that I've had to the people who, you know, do what we're doing right now, just talk to each other. And Alan, you know, and I've tried to pay that forward as much as I can. You know, it's not as it doesn't come as easy or as naturally for me as it does, but you know, for some people. But Alan, like very early on, invited me on and has always continued to invite me on, and I appreciate that. But you know, he and Steven won for that Monday night. Matt got 2, and I want to go celebrate with those guys because I'm really happy. I'm really happy for them, man. I'm so happy for them.
Happy for you too, buddy. It's well deserved award for you, man. I'm telling you, you always do an excellent job. Whether you know it or not, you are very much a natural at this. I struggle when I speak. I usually say 1,000 times. You know. It's like a little tick. It's a tick. I catch myself saying it all the time. But no, you like I said, you're a natural at it, man. You do great jobs of interviewing, and I enjoy watching you on anything you do. So
I'm very appreciative, man. Like everybody who voted for me, I'm tickled pink. I am just like, again, I'll never stop saying thank you. I can't wait for those spinner racks to get here. They're so cool. I can't wait to see them. We'll get you in there. We'll get you in that rotation. It's a fun show to do, you know. The Friday night show really is.
And so is Biggie Shacks. I know you, if no one's ever done Biggie Shack, he always throws that link out there. It's open to anybody. And sometimes, I mean, he'll have some fun games. You know, just random type games and stuff. So it's always a blast. But with me, do you got anything else besides going on Alan's show? Or
no, I've been very busy the last few weeks, so I always say I have 3 videos. I mean, I have 3 different things I'm editing like simultaneously, and I want to get something out, but I really, you know, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna take that one, I'm gonna, you know, render it down real quick and get it. It didn't happen. You know, I thought I could do it before we jumped on here. No, it ain't happening. So, I mean, there's not going to be a video from me this week, like an edited video, but my goal is to get an edited video out next week because I've got a couple that are close. But like I said, other than that, no. I mean, I'll just, you know, keep your ear to the ground. I'll have some shorts go up here and there because those are easy. But yeah, that's about it, buddy. I mean, I'm around. I'm around. I'll be in the chats. I'll be talking to people. I'll be spouting nonsense. Oh, and yeah, I mean, Eric, I'm sorry, side quest. We're gonna have a movie night come up. I've already picked out the next movie. We did spooky public domain theater for Night of the Living Dead.
That is so much fun.
I'm gonna host the next one. And I'm not gonna spoil it yet, but it's gonna be a hoot. The movie I've picked is
sounds like a blast, buddy.
A lot of them are, like MST3K movies that have been done before, but I don't care and I don't memorize their jokes. I'm just looking to hang out and joke about a bad movie with my bros.
I absolutely love that idea. That was something I was considering wanting to do too, or something like something around that same format, because I just love that idea. That sounds like a blast.
I love it. And I'm gonna say I'm gonna close out by saying thank you to K Munin for the kind words, and thank you to Lewis for also kind words, but putting me in your top 5 guys.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks everybody in the chat. This Saturday, me and or Chaco and I will be back to our normal interview show on the live show. We have shoot, I forget the guy's name. Ryan from Automatic Comics.
Cool.
Ryan from Automatic Comics. And then next Wednesday on Geeking Out With, I'm going to have Jeff from Outer World Comics.
I know him.
Yeah.
He's got he was at Heroes. Did you see him at Heroes? Because I didn't. Yeah. I didn't know he was there.
He was one of the first people I ran into on that Thursday. I was walking around with my camera, filming, getting some stock stuff. I look over, I went, hey, I know that guy. We're gonna turn the camera off, and we just sit there and BS for a minute. And that's when Colossus and a few other guys come walking around the corner. It was like, holy crap, where am I at? This is awesome.
Yeah. And when I saw him post a video, I was like, how did I miss people? I mean, because it was so big. But yeah, cool guy.
Johnny. Yeah, you're late, buddy.
You know what? I'm sorry. One last thing. Johnny is coming literally to my house on Saturday, and me and Eric Himbo are gonna take him digging. So I don't know. I'm not good at when I hang out with somebody filming, so I can't promise I'll have a video of us doing stuff, but I'll have a video of the stuff we find.
Hey, I can be there in a couple hours.
Saturday.
No, I'm just joking.
You want to make a roadie?
But
but I only have one extra room, so you either have to rock, paper, scissors for my kid's bedroom, or you have to planes, trains, and automobiles it.
To me, if I'm under 3 hours, I'm like, I can get home, drive home in 3 hours in no time. Don't take no time.
Nuts.
But Anyway, I was lost in thought there for a second, picturing me and Johnny scissoring.
Someone clip that now.
Thanks again, everybody in the chat. Thanks, Nate, again. I can't thank you enough, buddy. And
thanks,
with
everybody.
that, we will close this show out, and we will see you guys on the flip side. See you.